Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Tribunal affirms election of Rauf Aregbesola as Osun State Governor, says PDP candidate failed to prove case of malpractice in the poll. INEC to take final decision tomorrow on the date of the general elections. Complaints continue to trail collection of permanent voters' cards across the country. And Yemen's Shia Houthi rebels announce takeover of government set to dissolve parliament.
And on sports news, Confederation of African Football CAF bans Morocco from 2 editions of the Nations Cup as the continent's football ruling body battles to redeem its image.
We begin tonight in Osun State, southwest Nigeria, where the Election Petitions Tribunal, hearing matters on the August 9, 2014 governorship election, has declared Rauf Aregbesola of the All Progressives Congress as the winner of the election. At the final hearing of the petition filed by the PDP candidate in the election, Iola Umishori, the chairman of the 3-man panel, Justice Elizabeth Ikpejime, ruled that the tribunal had no reason whatsoever to disregard the result of the election as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Justice Ikpejime explained that the petitioner failed to prove his case as none of his witnesses was able to establish any evidence regarding the allegations of malpractice in the election.
Jubilant crowd in the street of Osogbo as the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in the state capital upheld the victory of Governor Rauf Aregbesola at the August 9 election in the state. Amid tight security, the Justice Elizabeth Ikpejime-led tribunal says the petitioner has failed to prove his case as none of his witnesses could establish any evidence in regards to the allegations levied against the APC. Upon this, she gave her judgment.
Consequently, we hereby refuse all the reliefs sought in the petition, and the petition therefore fails, and it will be, and it is hereby dismissed.
Counsel to both parties react after the judgment.
The petition is dismissed and buried. We thank God that we have come this far. For the past 6 months, we have been here to prove our case. And thank God that the judges of the tribunal, they found no merit in all the 3 grounds that they found in their petition. So we are happy about it.
There is no point hiding the fact that the trial of this matter will not end before this tribunal, the way they have delivered their judgment this afternoon, but certainly we are moving forward both administratively and legally. What I mean by administratively is compilation of records of appeal in respect of this matter, filing our notice of appeal within time, and stating therein the grounds upon which we are actually disagreeing with the judgment as delivered.
With this off the way, it is expected that all efforts will now be geared towards the development of the state.
Meanwhile, Governor Rauf Aregbesola has been reacting to the ruling by the Election Petitions Tribunal, which affirmed his victory in the August 9th election. In a telephone interview with Channels Television, Governor Aregbesola described the judgment as a victory for democracy. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has set aside the judgments of the Federal High Court, also in Abuja, which upheld the Ejike Ogwebu Executive Committee as the true leadership of the People's Democratic Party in Anambra State. The Appellate Court also set aside the Federal High Court's decision, which voided the Caretaker Ad Hoc Committee established by the People's Democratic Party, led by Colonel Augustine Akpobundo, to run the affairs of its Anambra chapter and restrain the Independent National Electoral Commission from accepting the list of candidates that emanated from the primaries conducted by the Caretaker Committee. By the judgment, all the candidates produced in the primaries held by Odwebego, executive of the Anambra PDP, will no longer be acceptable to INEC, until the Supreme Court decides otherwise. While the Independent National Electoral Commission is to hold a consultative meeting with the chairman and secretaries of all registered political parties, as well as the resident electoral commissioners tomorrow, that's Saturday, February the 7th, 2015. According to a statement signed by the spokesman of the INEC chairman, the commission is expected to address a press conference after the meeting to brief the nation on its decision with regard to whether or not the general elections will hold as scheduled. The meeting is coming 2 days after the INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega, briefed the National Council of State on its readiness to conduct the elections on February the 14th. The council had advised the INEC boss to go ahead with its preparations for the elections as scheduled, but to address Nigerians on its final decision after consultations with the relevant bodies. And while the nation awaits INEC's final pronouncement on the election date, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, Dr. Doyin Okukpe, has challenged members of the opposition to tell Nigerians what dangers any change of date portends to the electoral process. Speaking in Abuja, Dr. Okukpe says the federal government is not exerting pressure on the Independent National Electoral Commission to shift the election date, but is only asking the electoral umpire to ensure that all eligible voters get their permanent voters' cards.
The consideration behind the possibility of change of date is to allow those who may be disenfranchised from voting on the 14th of February to have a window of opportunity to exercise their lawful rights to vote and participate in these elections. We repeat that the only set of people who stand to benefit from a shift in the election dates are Nigerians who desire to vote and have not been able to collect their permanent voters' cards, and other innocent citizens living in the war zone who may not be able to vote due to security challenges on the 14th of February. You will recollect, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that in 2003, in 2007, and in 2011, all elections were held in April, and it did not affect the handover date. This administration remains committed to a transparent, credible, and inclusive, free and fair elections, and will continue to ensure that it employs all powers available to it to guarantee that this happens without any infringement on our sacred constitutional provisions.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, Dr. Doyin Okukpe. Now it's 8 days to the first set of the 2015 general elections, and things don't seem to have taken perfect shape just yet. Voters here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial hub, are still grappling with the collection of their permanent voters' cards. The Independent National Electoral Commission said it has decentralized the collection centers, but it appears the case is not even, as several cards are still in the custody of the Commission. Meanwhile, a startling discovery by Channels Television reveals holes in the new system, which INEC says it has employed, that's expected to make the register difficult to compromise. Our political correspondent Seun Okimbaloye reports.
Don't judge him just yet, although he may look desperate, but that's how far he's willing to go to get his PVC. But for some others here, it's a case of frustration and patience that has been tried. The new deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards will elapse in a matter of days, 8th of February to be precise, and that's just about a week to the first set of elections slated for later this month. The septuagenarian has been here for several hours. He sits waiting for his turn. He told me he's tired of waiting after calling at this center more than 5 times. The case is not different for Patricia, who out of anger had to make an official report at the INEC office, which is about 2 hours drive from her home. Now she's asked to come here to this center for a PVC.
Yes, I've gotten it now, but I've been working on it since last year. I made attempts, several attempts. To be precise, I made 5 attempts before today. My one vote means a lot. We need more people, more hands. You come to this center here, you have less than 5 officials attending to a mammoth crowd of hundreds. How do you expect them to perform?
Combing the city of Lagos just to see how the process goes, from the extreme part of Lagos Island in Etiosha local government area to the mainland here at Anthony Village, perhaps the case is nothing different.
Well, my name started with D. They said they have already called all the whole D, but my name is not there. You know, I don't even know what they're even doing. So if the election you go to host, we don't know. But if the name didn't come out, I don't think how we're going to vote, put the vote, if some of us did not see our names.
So I'm not going to vote. It's not possible. It's my right to vote. So it must be extended.
From Anthony area to another far end of town, this time around at Agege local government area, the officials are closing for the day. The work here has been simplified because the distribution has been decentralized and has been extended to polling unit areas, which has drastically reduced the traffic.
How much is the pen? How much? Is it up to 100 naira?
The case is not all gloomy though, but a case that may be disturbing is this.
Twice with my photograph.
She said she registered in 2011, but when the permanent voter card was processed, 2 was made in her details. She now has 2 PVCs bearing the same details.
Okay, I registered sometime in 2011 when the registration started for voter cards. I registered at a polling unit right in front of my house. In fact, everybody knows I registered with my husband and other family members. And 2015, early 2015, February 2015, to be precise, on the 1st of February 2015, I went to that same place where I registered my polling unit where I voted in 2011, and I received 2 cards from an INEC official because prior to that time, the voter register had been released and I saw my details represented twice.
Hers is not the only one, and this is another. The intention of introducing a permanent voter card with a biometric system is to rid the register of irregularities. But with this sort of situation, it leaves a lot of question to the essence of the process and, in fact, the integrity of the register, which, according to INEC, it has gone through a thorough 2-stage of pruning. Sheung Okimbaloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, Nigeria and Chad sign MOU on operational modalities in tackling Boko Haram at their border. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.